So hi there, today we're doing a tutorial on making a time lapse with Lightroom and LRtimelapse. It's a bit long-winded, bit backwards and forwards. I thought I'd make my own tutorial. I found ones that I found online quite confusing, and I think they can be made a lot simpler. So here we go. So you got your library. Make sure all your sequence is all in one folder. Don't want any other images in here because it will they'll end up in your time lapse as well. So find your folder in LRtimelapse, open it up, click your keyframes wizard. It wants to add 3. I'm just going to add 2, minimum 2. Definitely, I've had a few issues. I've only used 1 when it's told me to, and things haven't worked properly. So 1 at the beginning and 1 at the end at least, and you can add plenty in if need be. So save that, back to Lightroom. Basically you can Control and A, select all your images and then read the metadata, but it's easier. I've already selected them, it seems. So first image, last image, right click, metadata, read metadata from files, read. Go to your filters, you got LRT for keyframes. There we go. Now we can edit away. So first image, gonna warm it up a bit, pull back the highlights, boost the shadows, maybe a bit of contrast. You got graduated filters. There's 4 been added. Use these. Hopefully you shouldn't need any more. Don't go and use one. Just add another one. Just don't bother unless you really need to. I'm not sure how well it will work if you do. So yeah, just a bit of contrast and clarity. Maybe pull the highlights back a bit more. That's looking good. Give it a crop, 16:9, and lens corrections. We want nice straight lines. Not it really matters on this image, but if you was in the city, skyscrapers or some architecture, you need to keep lines nice and straight. Maybe just add a bit of clarity to this overall image as well. So that's looking good. Go to scripts, sync keyframes. That's transferred the data other than the crop. We have to do that a different way. So sync settings, check none, just get crop, synchronize, and that's that. Go to your next image, final image. Ignore the dust spot. Not a lot we can do about that. You might be thinking, oh, you can just clone it or heal it. Yes, you can. But once the clouds start or anything moving goes over the heal, the source or the healed spot, you'll get flickering and stuff where stuff doesn't match. So crop it out or bin it. As you can see, it's looking a bit less visible now. We've boosted up the exposure and such. Maybe lift the shadows a bit more. That's looking good. So back to the library. Always do your metadata in the library. Right click, metadata, save to files, carry on. Back to LRtimelapse and we'll reload the metadata. You might be thinking, good God, it's backwards and forwards, but after a few tries of doing it, you might have to watch this tutorial a couple of times, or another one if that's to get the grips of it. But once you've done it a few times, it's easy to remember. Auto transition. Now this basically is just gonna make all the our adjustments spread across the sequence and make them all nice and smooth. So as you can look here, 0, 4, 7, 11, 15. This is shouldn't be here. Ignore that for now. And then these going up. So it makes everything, all the changes, nice and smooth from the beginning to the end. And you got visual previews, which is, it'll basically render this small file, and then you can look at your time lapse and how it would look after you've done your stuff and edited it. But then it'll highlight bad deflicker issues. So if you've got a flickering issue here, you can basically do this and then redo the deflicker, and it will tidy up just this area for you, as opposed to trying to adjust the whole image, which is quite helpful if you've got a sore spot. What I generally do is use the basic workflow. It saves rendering this preview, and it works pretty good. So just click on the deflicker, apply it, it's already done, and save. Then go back to Lightroom, go to the filter, choose full sequence, Control and A, select every image, right click, read metadata from files. So then metadata is all read, transferred over. So you can quite possibly right click on here to export your images, but this time we didn't do it slightly differently, and click on here. It probably comes up normally with your hard drive. So just click your drop down menu, click export LRtimelapse. You have various options. If you paid for the pro version, you can export TIFFs, or just for normal version you can export JPEGs. I always use the original size instead of cutting it down to a 4K. And don't touch this box here. Not sure, that's basically sending it to LRtimelapse, and just click on there to choose where you want to put your final time lapse. And just be aware that when you render your video, if it's a duplicate file name, it just seems to overwrite it, which is quite annoying. So make sure you use a unique file name, as opposed to losing work and having to do it all again. You got this option here. You can skip the LRtimelapse rendering if you want to just basically export the images and add them all to Premiere or After Effects, if that's how you choose to make your time lapse. And then we'll just click export, and job's done. I'm not actually going to do that, I've already done it before, so we'll leave it there. And I'll get back to you in a bit. Just give me a moment and we'll finish it off and show you the export menu and what to do there. So you'll get a quick message from Lightroom saying everything's exported, and you get a window pop up here which will look just like this. And then Yeah, make sure you don't check this box. This deletes all your JPEGs, or if you chose TIFFs because you've got giant hard drive space and mega memory. Yeah, don't tick this, whatever you do, because on the odd occasion I've rendered a video and you hear a ping saying yep, video's done. Then it pings again and it's deleted it. Actually come up on the info on the log file saying it deleted the video. I don't know why. Only happened a couple of times, but since then I've always chose not to make sure this box isn't checked. You can just go and delete it afterwards once you've got your video. But yeah, you got things I always set at 24 frames a second, speed of default 1 of 1, and at 1080, which is the highest I can export on here, due to not paying lots of money for this program. But yeah, if you do pay lots of money, you can export up to 8K if you have a Sony a7R II or a 5D SR. You got a massive sensor. You can make stupidly big time-lapse videos. But yeah, obviously that's all about done really, and then click render. Fingers crossed it all works for you. It should do, and you can enjoy your time-lapse within 2 minutes maybe. It doesn't take long, pretty quick. So yeah, I'd just like to thank you for watching. Hopefully you found it useful. If you have found it useful, you might want to subscribe. There's plenty of more tutorials and random stuff to come. Yeah, I'll find something like, I think I've got one of these somewhere. I'll pop it up at the end so you can see the final result. And yeah man, thanks for watching.